All right. Do you have a short one?
Oh,
I have a short one.
Oh, just, yeah, look that up.
That's weird. What's up?
I'm too short. I still feel
Open
short.
up the wrong-
This one goes up there, but it's slow.
That was weird.
All right, it is 7 o'clock
Yeah.
and I will call the meeting to order. First order of business is the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mhm.
We open up the.
There it is. Well, welcome. I'll do you during open session for questions, kind of introduce yourself. First, next we have the consent agenda, the minutes and the bills. Motion approved consent agenda with additional bills. All right. Anybody need to hear the additional bills? They total 2348. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Open session for citizens' questions and comments. Okay, go ahead.
These guys not gonna be done next week. There's 72 hour. grace period.
It's kind of hard to stick with that and for the homeowner to plan that and for us to respond to that. And
Right,
we have to set up something to shoot for. And
what is that? You have to work this out.
I'm not familiar with what the exact days and stuff are. Yeah. The wind might remove them all for us,
Well, I-
or put them in,
I-
or put them in your yard, or put yours in the neighbor's yard.
Because there are places where, I mean, literally,
Yeah.
houses probably just like, aren't they loud? So we can afford. Why don't we enforce it? If we don't enforce it, then we might not.
If. Looking at it from an equipment standpoint, if we had $300,000 to buy a backhoe, which is what we actually need, we could do what our ordinance says. And it'd be organized and we take care of anything, but we have the lead back that we have. Which is like a lunchbox on wheels, and we do well with it, but it's limited. And it makes it a little harder for us to keep up with the schedule.
But still, today is only Thursday, Tuesday, Monday, things were already stacked up, and that's probably 8, 7, 6 days before.
Yeah, but them guys are behind too in their
Oh, I
show. One
mean,
guy.
No, I don't think on that. I'm just saying, you know, if the ordinance says you don't do before 72 hours. But it's 8 days before.
Well, the trees put it in the gutter too. And,
Right, no, but not.
right.
People that
Mhm.
they intentionally are already, yeah, the whole letter is just full of.
Yeah.
And I know you guys, I understand all that. As far as the residents.
Yeah, Monday was our last brush chipping, I think, right? So then that won't be in the way of that anymore.
It'd be worthwhile, maybe taking a look at the ordinance, just to adjust it for what we actually do, you know. 1 week is over here, you know, we go over there, sometimes 72 hours. That's not a very good guideline. Look at last week, right? Great weekend for yard work, but some companies leave it all rain, you know, so people on the east side have to rake their roofs in rain, because they work all week, so they don't have time to do it a week. So, I mean, it's not really fair. I think it's poorly written ordinance, so it warrants, revisit. to update it to what we actually do, if we're doing one side of the tracks during this week, or one side of the tracks during that week. I think we're really, really doing this. I don't think 72 hours is fair. So, yeah, I just, you know, when you, let's say weekends, it's the only, about the only time a lot of people have.
Right, but, you know, like you said, you don't have to have food, but to me, it's important that it's a leadership power. Not everybody can follow the world, everything. You know, and I'm working, you know, working out as a pump. But the ordinance, you know, it's specific for 72 hours, notification. You know, I mean, snow coming up pretty soon, that's all. You know, we got this for a wheelchair, she would be about probably after. Compared to how. It can get.
The ordinance needs to be revisited. To adhere to what we actually do.
Yeah, we're planning on adding an additional public works worker also. Because we've been one short for quite a while. And now two short for this period of time. Um, We will come to something that works, that we can follow and closely. Yeah, when the maples, like the maples drop all at the same time, and they drop a ton of leaves. And it takes 3 or 4 days to clean up after that. And we don't always have 3, 4 days during any given week to do nothing but collect leaves.
I understand your frustration on 3 months property. Somewhere, you know.
No,
Can't breathe without.
It's just a matter of finding what's fair and feasible for everybody.
all right, we also have, 2 representatives from SRAM Engineering who'd like to introduce themselves.
Sure, thank you. So my name is Ben Wood, I'm an engineer with Strand Associates, been there for 16 years and checking back my notes, been contacting Walter Corellia for 13 years, all the way back to Gary Buntrock was at the wastewater. And we've been fortunate to be helping the village with engineering for the last 9 years, most of the wastewater. We're just stepping into some water services and thank you for some continuing to trust us with some of that. We understand with the village engineers partner that we might have to be for some on-call services. We do a lot of that too. We understand you're going out for RFP for that, so we just wanted to take an opportunity to introduce ourselves and just determine, you know, we're interested in that, so we can talk about some of the on-call stuff that we do. Communities that we do for you too.
Yeah, I'm running the property, this we help with that. Yeah.
Can you spell your last name?
FR, it's a doozy. CHMAN. It's German, if you're curious. Yeah. It's nice to meet everybody. Like Ben said, we've plenty of experience with plan review. We've got a couple larger projects coming up in the near future. It's on through the Lake Industrial Park. So I myself have quite a bit of experience with plan review, permit review. I have a strong background with stormwater. You know, helped out with Bristol, significant amounts of review over the past few years. And I think we're excited to potentially help you guys out if you need any engineering assistance.
Anything as little as a sidewalk permit or regular permit or private things as big as, you know, district. Be having assistance. And so, thanks a lot for the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, any other comments? All right, I will move on. Reports of operations from village president. I have nothing in particular to report right now. That won't be covered. Village administrator is not here yet. so-
He has the report in the packet, that's.
Oh, okay. His report is in the packet. If I get there.
the street, they can do that. Just for being too.
Charlie, you can have mine.
Or you're gonna email it in? Something like that would be on the list for interested citizens to click in.
When we
And
get our
distribute them?
website, we'll be able to click it, yes.
No, okay.
Or any resident can ask for a packet at any time.
Mhm.
It's all public record, so.
There's
All
nothing
right.
interesting in here, Howard.
Any questions on the administrator's report?
No, no.
All right, we'll move on to village marshal.
In addition to the written report, there is a parade. Next Tuesday, the whole of the vets come together and Veterans Day parade. And it's not on Veterans Day, but for safety reasons primarily, we will assist with that. I'm not on next week, but Alfred Wolf and Earl will lead and follow the parade. We'll start at Walton Park, come down Main Grade, turn down Highland School, make a loop, come back out. I would suggest that we possibly take a look at some sort of procedure that entities should follow in order to have an event here in the village. We have to support often, as far as the events of the insurance. What they need support from the village, what that support is, what they're going to do, and the time limits on this, how far in advance do we need to get that in. Not that you got it yet. One may be difficult for anybody, but it gives a heads up to the department, the police officer, that there's something done from this side of us, with the part time aspect of this. We have to deal with that, so. We can handle this, but it's really aware of what's going on.
Isn't that what the fire chief was talking about with the parade for next year?
Yeah, I'll get into that a little bit later with the parks thing, but yeah, there's. For the 100-year celebration, they're planning on doing a parade as well, so we'll have to. Talk about that.
And then secondly, if, just along the way, I had a conversation with concerned about these cars over there. We do have a plan, meeting, we'll have a plan commission meeting. And I'll. We would have a based on what happens.
All right, any other questions? Should we have a designated parade route? Or maybe a choice of two or something in the village?
We talked about this at meetings for last year's event, and we talked about the parade. The designated, we just did this before, and I was the primary to push behind this. It makes things easier from a logistical standpoint, rather than adjusting to different parade routes. We have one footprint, and you can either way you want to go, it doesn't matter. But we have one footprint of the parade. Same thing for a run, we have one county. That's it. It makes things a lot easier for our street guys, for the police department, in order to support these events. So that would be my recommendation that you do that. It's a little more difficult here because I don't know.
We're gonna have a lot of streets.
A lot of streets, depends where you're gonna start and end.
Mhm.
You have to have a staging area, and then at the end, one.
Collection area.
Where they can disband and get out of it. So that has to be taken into consideration. Single route is a good idea, I think. Makes things easier and shoot part of the cost. And you also know what to expect.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Anything else? Okay, we'll move on to fire chief. Do we have a report? We
Thank you,
don't have
sir.
a report.
never get a report.
We didn't get a report.
No.
No, okay. All right, Public Works. And water treatment plant report.
The abundance of, like we talked about earlier, the abundance of leaves is really crazy out there. I think we hauled 39 dump truck loads, to the smallest dairy farm this week, and that's not counting the ones that we dumped at our staging area behind their shop. And what we put down in the yard by site. That was just on the west side of the tracks. Wastewater treatment plant, everything's looking good down here. We did, about getting our digester two, sludge pump out of the bottom of the digester. We did run that, the alerts. And they're planning on coming in early next week, get that pump out. Then our diffusers should be in next week as well, so we told. It's a little less solid out there, the places where those diffuser rates and that.
We're gonna be doing all of them.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing all 76 of them.
Yeah. As far as the leaves go, loading them up on trucks with the backhoe is the best way to go for some kinds of leaves and some piles and some whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot quicker.
Yeah.
It doesn't clean up as well as our leaf back does, but this week we experienced that we had one pile on Cedar Valley Road. This one pile over back up 3 different times before we're done.
Yeah,
And with all the debris that people are putting in their leaf piles, it's clogging up the color, and then bring it back to the shop, take the hose off, take out whatever's stuck in there, to just get it around the supplements. So we did end up using 2 backhoe tractor and payloader, both on trucks, just to get the majority of the leaves off the road, just piles, like we talked about earlier, it's crazy piles.
yeah,
I think as the majority of them fall down, you guys get the majority of them up and then you'll have the residuals. I think that's where the leaf vac will probably be a lot
Yeah,
more useful and helpful.
maybe next week when we're on the east side of the tracks, we might have to use the equipment again, just,
Yep.
get the files off the road. I'm planning to go back to the feedback, because it does such a better job of keeping
Right.
these out of the gutter.
I will tell you, I know that Grafton is having a problem right now too. I drop my daughter off there twice a week at school and they're having all sorts of issues. They got everybody up there with dump trucks and everything, and then, they start driving, and these fly out. I mean, they're falling fast everywhere, and it seems to be all at once this year,
Mhm.
so. You guys are doing as good as you can.
And since the weather has been actually really nice the last few weeks here, we do still have the bathrooms open here, you can close eye on. Other forecasts can start getting more release, start shutting those down. And then, it's also on the docket to get the gazebo down here.
Right.
That's, I think the problem in the stop and shooting to the shop. Is there anything you can give that form and say, just a reminder? Not to do this or that.
I think we had a
Well,
note.
no branches in the leaf.
That way, to me.
Do we have that in the-
letting
in the-
know,
Newsletter?
Yeah, I know we have a store case that we can.
I saw something. I haven't even been on Facebook. Not to put these in.
just a reminder that this is- if you don't change things,
Well, our lead vac is not toy, actually. It's a commercial unit, but it isn't as bully as some of the bigger units that would suck up those branches and, they wouldn't, you have a bowling ball that would suck that up too. And not have a problem.
The new leaf bag, it doesn't have the old one had like a chopper on it,
Mhm.
so it was able to chop up the leaves and the sticks, and I mean, I remember we stuck a pumpkin, people were
Yeah.
throwing pumpkins in the leaf pile, and they would just chop it right up and they never bought, see what it was, that's. And twigs and even, corn stalks.
Mhm.
like corn stalks, we just bought it right up.
Yeah, the main mass of the leaves should be loaded up with loaders in the backhoe and trucks and everything. When you get down to where you're just in the gutter and you can identify what's laying there as you're going along. Leaves are falling from the trees now. You're not gonna make the gutter perfectly clean. And 5 minutes later, it's gonna be full of leaves anyhow. So it's senseless to try and do that at this point of the season.
Everything's-
I do know, I know on the west side, when we were working this, there was, I mean, we came through with the loaders. Scooped up their pile, got it out of there, and the next day, they already have a leaf pile. sitting
Yeah.
there.
It's hard when they all fall at the same time,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, I mean, I think they all felt this last week. or-
All right, anyone have any questions of public works person? All right, we'll move on. Clerk treasurer's reports in your packet. And to,
It's a busy office.
Mm,
We've had a lot of absentee voters, I had 20 today. So.
Hmm.
Here up for election on Tuesday. Elect that thing.
Right on.
all right, any questions of the clerk treasurer? All right, I'll move on. County supervisor's report.
Not so much has been going on at the county lately, but I can tell you that, Mequon now, we've decided to move all the dispatching up, to the county. So the only, community that will have its own dispatching is Cedarburg right now. So everything else is on the way through the county. Budget passed, looks good, nothing too alarming there, nothing crazy. So, yeah, everything was run along pretty smoothly. So that's anything in particular for me.
All right, any questions of our supervisor? Okay, I'll move on. Report from Park and Recreation.
Yep, so we met on the first, primarily talked a lot about the tree lighting, so. For those that don't know, that'll be November 26th. We start at 6 PM this year down at Freedom Park. Probably gonna follow pretty much the same pattern that we have last few years. 6 o'clock, hopefully the choir will be going. I have a email out to their director and she said that she believes that. They'll be there to sing. We've got, the tree lighting at 6:30 and then rumor has it that Santa might be coming at 6:45. So that'll be fun. On that note, Laura Logan is not donating her trees that she normally does this year. So we'll have to figure out who or where or what and how to get those.
I think
So-
Shane, where our landscaper sells trees, he may be able to.
Yep.
I don't know if he's gonna be getting them that early.
Yep.
Maybe last year? Okay, good, thanks.
Did you buy them, Sandy, or did they donate? You bought them?
Just a note for you, I noticed the event that Tiffany put out there, so it starts at 5. So,
I wonder if that's a typo.
I mean,
The tree
the
lighting?
agenda in the notes says, OHS choir at 6, but it says the event starts at 5, so it might have people showing up.
I will make sure that she knows about that.
Hmm.
So anyway, that's what we pretty much talked about, and then we started getting into the nitty gritty of. The fun before the fourth next year, and it might be changing a little bit, so. Obviously, we have the 100th anniversary of the fire department this coming year, and they are planning a pretty big celebration on the 19th of August. It sounds like. And we kind of had the idea of pooling our resources because a lot of the stuff would be repeated. So I'm kind of working with them. I'm going to be going to their committee meeting next week to talk to them about what we can and cannot film with and things like that. So that's kind of the to be determined type thing. But it sounds like they're planning a lot of fun things on that weekend. And then we decided that the movies, we're gonna try to reschedule one of them for either January 20th or February 10th in conjunction with NOSD. So we'll see what happens up there with that. The school.
You
NOSD,
said NOS, oh, I
Yeah.
thought you said something else.
no, NOSD. So to be determined, no more soon. That's all I got.
And did you mention the date of the tree lighting and?
I did, yeah.
Okay. I had a hard time hearing what that. motor was. Okay, any questions of the perk? Sure. All right, we'll move on. Items for discussion and or action. A is adopt ordinance 2022-6, amending the standing committees. The recommendation is to remove personnel, economic development and tech committee. Those duties would be handled by the administrator.
I don't think the administrator fully understands the purpose of the tech committee. The tech committee is not a financial committee, it's a exploration and maintenance type committee. So I'd like to maybe amend the ordinance when we get to that point. Or have a discussion, you know, at least, but from his description, it just doesn't match what it actually does. So,
I would add that I feel the same way. I agree with the other two, though. I think that those can be handled through the administrator. I think that some move that's kind of passed through.
Talking with him, he's thinking tech committee is office stuff.
yeah, he doesn't understand what the tech committee has done in its,
Right.
what, 3 years of existence so far. You know, but mainly bringing us into the 21st century, going mostly paperless, you know.
And we have more of that to do.
Zoom
too.
meetings set up, you know, the technology that we use now. And not only do we do it for the village, but the town tends to follow in our footsteps as well, so. I think we're doing a lot more than just, you know, planning budgets and technology budgets, so like what he's trying to say here.
Okay, when we get to that ordinance, we can do that.
We're at that. Not- That's what you're at,
Isn't that,
6A. That's the ordinance. And you can amend it to not remove tech committee.
oh, okay, well, we have,
Okay, let's
okay,
make a motion to amend the proposed ordinance 2022-6 to not strike the tech committee. That was currently listed as subsection 7.
I will second that.
all right, and we also have cable TV hanging on there. That's a remnant from the past. There's very little to do with that, and everything. That could fall under the administrator's purview.
Well, cable TV was one of those committees that we did kind of eliminate, but combined under
Right.
tech committee. Arguably, yeah, that could be something that could be under the administrator as well.
Yeah,
Um,
so you want to
that's
amend
mostly
that, you want to
contractual.
amend that also? 'Cause they've got tech committee and cable TV in parentheses. You could amend them both out. Yes?
This is the first time. Yes.
Because isn't it supposed to be presented when you come back to the people then think about it.
Well, I had suggested that a couple of times and I was kind of poo-pooed. To have a presentation and at the following, that's what I thought also, but,
Yeah, the ordinance says that it should be presented at least 2 weeks in advance and adopted later unless there's good reason to
Mhm. So do we have good reason to do it this way, or do you want to?
I don't think there's any urgency.
No, there's no urgency for this.
So
You
then it
wanna-
would go on this agenda for the 17th for approval.
It's gonna be a busy agenda.
I know,
Well. Signal ordinance, I mean, we can,
is that how that works?
It could easily be on the 1st of December too. It's just as at least 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, if you'd want to discuss this with the administrator, so he can kind of get a good idea, a good feel for what these three things are. Have no problem with personnel and ED. But this is a working committee. It turns out a product, it turns out recommendations, et cetera, so.
That's not something that's under the administrator's job description is to explore, new technology or. Upgrades.
So does anyone want to move to forward this to a future meeting?
Do we need to move as part of the same? In the rule, right?
Yeah. Well, unless you want to act on it now.
Somebody can present some good reason to do it right now.
Yeah,
Is it gonna affect anything?
well, we have a
Potential
motion and a second right now, right?
To amend.
To amend it.
To amend the.
To amend that.
To amend it to take number 7 and leave it in there.
And procedural, and that'd be just fine, because that would show that we all agree on that,
Mhm.
or is that some sort of agreement or not?
I can,
And then,
I'll talk to him and explain what the committee does,
mhm.
and then he can, if he has other strong reason why it shouldn't be allowed, come up with it.
Well,
Do we want to?
we can postpone action on the amended ordinance until a future time certain, whenever. And then in the interim, we'll have a chance to talk it over with the administrator and get everybody on the same page. And then we can present the amended ordinance at a future meeting and act on it there.
Well,
So I'll just withdraw the motion, and so we can act on this, at a later date.
he could give an explanation of why he's doing it anyhow.
Mhm. Okay,
Oh,
Well, he kind of did.
but yeah,
But it doesn't, it's not a very good reason.
well, his reason shows that he doesn't have a full understanding of what the committee is, so. Then we would be in order to make a motion to postpone.
I don't think we need a motion.
It's on the agenda and we don't want to act on it right now, so we want to act on it after we have a discussion with the administrator. So you move to postpone, right? That's what Lee would do. He moves to postpone it to a future meeting.
Table it.
Yeah, table it to a time certain. Maybe we should have a tutorial of Robert's rules so that we could go over a few of
He
those
was gonna
things.
do that.
You have to vote it.
Yeah,
Okay, then let's do a motion to table.
Motion to table the resolution. For the next meeting. The 17th.
Yep.
well, they-
On the 17th. Good point. Sorry.
Shouldn't be a long one.
to a future meeting. That would be,
Well, December 1st.
second,
you're
Okay, wait a
gonna,
minute, are we tabling to this November
Table to
17th or
December
December 1st?
No need to take it up before that.
And that's what you said.
No, this is just housekeeping anyway. So do I have a second on that?
Well, second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to postpone it till December 1st. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Nay.
Okay, we have one name, majority motion carried. Next, we have a motion to approve 22-I.
And also, was this proposed by Chris?
What we're trying to do here is rather than having a per diem, we would have a wage or a stipend or whatever you want to call it. And eliminate all the bookwork with keeping track of who attended which meeting and whatnot.
Right, I get that. I don't know if I agree with the amounts that are on there. I mean, village president is 3 times more than a trustee. Not the only one that.
That comes because it's village president currently is 37.50 base. And whereas trustees get 0 base. And then if you add in the $55 per meeting, that's another 13.70. So we're at 55,000, about 5,100 or so. Then I think the rest of
The community meetings.
The last time this was addressed was what, 2017?
I also don't feel that anybody should benefit from not attending and not working. Shouldn't just be a blanket there.
I'll just make mention of the fact that we do have stipulations as to how many meetings somebody has to attend. So as far as that goes, it's not like somebody could just not go to any meetings and still get paid. Sure, just for the record.
Yeah, and this is similar what the county does. Very similar.
Yeah, all of us attend meetings that we're not assigned to, and we do that as a volunteer without getting paid.
Right. I mean, a lot's changed in this last year. I mean, that's why we got administrator. I just think that's 3 times more than a trustee. I don't think that's reasonable. I don't.
Well, you're not alone in that. I wish you would have been babysitting me the last year. So we can do the same thing with this as we did with the last. We can forward this and have the explanation and whatever, and it's up to the board. The board's in charge.
Motion to
You guys
table,
start making motions and
motion to table resolution 2022-I, the December 1st meeting.
I'll second that.
okay, I have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay, wait a minute. Who named
And I have a division, which is the actual word to ask for.
Josh and Dan? Who else, Nate
I did, that was Nate.
and Don?
Okay, so it's 4-5, 4-3. Okay, motion
So
carried.
it's carried.
Motion carried 4-3. Okay, we'll revisit this on the first also. C. This is the reason, John and I both talked about this. The reason why this is on here is that when you have an incumbent who is on the art board and that incumbent can't make the meeting, the incumbent who is the village president at that time should have the ability to either make the quorum or to be the liaison between the board and the art board.
You say that again? Just, I can't hear.
The art board has one village board member.
Yep.
If that village board member can't make it, we need a different village board member to step in. That's basically what this is asking for.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, it's also the ability to, if you have a meeting that must be made and you can't get a quorum, that the village president can become a member of that committee for the purpose of making a quorum.
It is
So
just
that-
for the art board, not for any other, this discussion is only. for
This
art
one is
board.
just for the art board, yeah, but the
The
village,
ordinance does not allow you to do that right now.
I know, the village president should be able to make a quorum, so an important meeting can be had if there isn't a quorum. We've had a few instances of this over the past 26 years, and it just helps things roll along. And normally it doesn't ever happen, so
Does it have
that's
to,
not a part of this action discussion, but it should be.
well, my only question would be, does it have to be the village president, or could it be that there could be another board member, you know, I guess.
Well, if, it could be the same board member would be able to make up the quorum in any of the committees. I wouldn't care if it would be the village president or the board member, you know, if you wanna be the person to call and say, well, we don't have a quorum, can you come in and make a quorum?
Yeah.
You know, doesn't have to be me.
Well,
Doesn't
that's
have
what
to
I'm
be-
saying, but just, you know, I'm just asking if it needs to just be the village president, or if it can be any of us type deal that
Mhm.
can do that. But and just.
Yeah, I don't
curious.
know if it could be anyone,
Yeah, I'm just curious. Don't know this yet.
yeah.
And that Zoom though, too, I mean, if somebody can't make it, they can actually chime in, right, or not? Is that not legal?
But the thing is, we have such small committees, there's 3 on committee. And it's not hard for 2 of these people not to be available to make that meeting. Yes, then,
I'm gonna have to read the
Not where I was.
I looked, I couldn't find it in our. I found it in Village of Maine.
It said it would not allow. So maybe there's 2 conflicting ordinances.
I'm kind of, I should know that. I mean, I should really read.
because it had always been that way. And then of late, since we recodified, I was told that it wasn't that way anymore.
Well, then, if you do that, basically anytime 2 people are together, you have a committee.
Well, 2 people are committed, you have a committee
No,
forum.
I'm just saying, anytime you're in the room, there's a committee then.
That's right. That's right.
And that's
Well, I would,
the situation.
I wouldn't make that a quorum. These are just. It's just for instances where you need someone to make a quorum because you have to do this business and you can't because you don't have a quorum.
Then the chair would have to,
Then the chair would be able to make the quorum. And be in that committee officially for that particular night. And when they're done with the business and that's it, then he's not able. Or she. It's merely an emergency catch. For things that have to happen. Ideally, you could say, well, let's just have the meeting next week or something, which would happen more often than not. But if it's something that has to be done. You have to do it somehow. And we don't have any. Thing in our ordinance that allows for us to make that happen. Which is what I've been told. I had thought that it was there, that it always had.
Are you looking at the code book right now? Look
And
under-
it was, before we recodified it and then we just worded it for the policy, but
Can you look under like village president duties or something?
no, this is understood.
I think it was under president at, before we recodified.
I don't read it in our current code that it says that. And I just looked it up. Yes,
It's worded.
yes, and
I think before we recodified it, it said that the English president. So it was in that.
I also looked in the old red ordinance book and did not find that reference either. But the village of Dane has it in there. And they have the same E code company that we have.
Well, it's not for my benefit or anybody's benefit. I think that's a tool that we should have the ability to use, should be in our ordinance to cover a situation. I've done that already. Well, that's one that we should check.
Well, that was definitely a good discussion.
Mhm. Didn't accomplish anything, but,
We have nothing to accomplish, it's just a discussion on the event.
okay, that was a discussion. We can,
We can probably
follow
keep
up
going.
on that. Correspondence. Well, we had a response from Senator Dewey, for Dewey Strobel, and, it sounds like he might do something to, satisfy our need for information before the fact, but it didn't sound as though he was very wild about, doing anything about the amount of levy that we can take. I didn't expect him to be very loose with that.
We also got a response from Robert Brooks. He's gonna be attending the meeting on December 1st.
Did everybody get that or did just I get that?
That was the response. I will come to a meeting. You let me know when it will work. So he's
Okay.
coming December 1st.
Okay,
Good stuff.
regarding that, there's what they call a charter resolution. That can be voted by the board to change an ordinance or, reword an ordinance that's already in place. That would be sent to our administrator would send that to the state. Whereas that, if somebody was gonna have a home or something like that. An adult family home or a CBRF or anything like that. That could, you could request information.
you have to know that that activity is in the works in order to request information on it. You know, none of this is to disallow
No.
something like that to
Understood.
happen. But what this, we would like to have the information of these types of things that are being planned and approved so that we can make that information available to the police department and to our fire department. And, things of that nature, so they're prepared to respond, given any particular incident.
Correct, and like the fire inspection report and stuff I asked about with you, John, remember? That's all part of the program with the state, so I don't understand why they wouldn't be reporting their fire inspections and things like that, like we have to do with our adult day center and our CBRF and things like this. So I just don't get where the ball is dropped with them or, not necessarily us, but with them.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to go about it kind of the right way. Kind of go out about it, gradually.
I talked with Melissa about the response and Robert Cook coming. Her suggestion was that we invite everybody on North Milwaukee Street, not our North Wilson Street, who was concerned with the homes to the meeting.
Mhm.
They can ask questions. He can explain the state's view on this. We can give copies of Dewey Strobel's letter to us, provide to them. See what the state's gonna do. And probably invite the town in case they run into the same instance of problems, and also they made a question about the funding that we have.
Well, we have a list of those who attended, when, John Woodward was here
Yes,
explaining that, and we could notice those people.
A lot of the people didn't sign.
Well, they didn't think,
or we just,
we just
I can just take
invite
them
them up.
down the street like we did before.
Yeah, well, one thing John mentioned when he was here is that there was some resistance from the industry to having this, what we're asking for done, because there were instances where municipalities wanted to try to disallow that from being in their community. So that's why the legislature responded in such a way that, well, we're just not gonna tell them about it. But I think that's the wrong way of solving that problem.
Correct.
I think the right way is noticing and then handling the situations that are undesirable the other way, individually, rather than a blanket, well, we won't tell anybody that.
And you would invite people from Wilson Street when Rob Brooks is here.
Yes,
Yeah,
And you would invite also the entity that we're talking about,
the what,
the group home, the
Sure.
homes that we're talking about need to be invited to that.
sure.
yeah. Well, it'd be good to have them here. So,
They need to be,
yeah,
I believe.
we need them to be here.
Right.
So we can ask questions. All right. Okay, so that's something else that will be happening December 1st. Okay, so Dewey didn't say that he was going to stop over on this letter. He just says, thanks for the comment. All right,
Can we get a copy of that letter or did I get it? Is it in the
It's in your
notes?
packet.
it's in your packet.
Okay,
It's the
sorry.
last page in your packet. Are there any items for future consideration by the board?
You want me to bring up anything that I think in the budget should have been included, or you wait till next meeting? I've got some items that I know are missed.
In the budget presentation, you mean?
Yes.
Can you do that with Chris next time he's here?
He knows it.
Oh, he knows
Not
it.
in it.
Is he going to make an amendment?
Don't think so. I
Right.
talked to him and he amended some of the stuff, but not the things that I see are missing. Or could be changed.
No, and we have that opportunity at the budget hearing.
Okay, I can bring stuff up then, but if you guys wanna think about it now. Yeah, why is
It
it?
would probably be good to bring it out So we can get the change, so right after the budget hearing, we can approve the budget? So if there's errors or omissions,
Yeah, we need to
we
approve
should
it on the
have them
17th.
available at the budget hearing, make it as complete as possible.
Right, so what are the issues?
What are your aims and
You have a list, you have page numbers, you have,
he's trying to put it up on the screen.
okay.
Okay, this is the wall at the
The back of the,
north side of the police
Yeah.
station and the well. You see, it's in a little tough shape.
we've been tuck pointing that thing every other
Yeah.
year for forever.
And then Brandon said that the whole roof is in tough shape, they're worried about it. It's budgeted, there's $50,000 that's budgeted for a few years from now to fix that. Marshall's roof in 2025. Well, the wall's not in good shape, the roof's not in good shape. Maybe that should be moved up.
Did we have somebody come out and take a look at the roof?
Well, this.
I don't know, this is Roger's stuff. I don't know if anybody ever looked at it and where he got the number from. But we had a meeting, Josh was there, Tom was there, we saw this back wall.
Mhm.
I remember
Tough
that.
shape it's in.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, that's when they tuck pointed the front,
Yeah,
that was leaking
Well,
over the door.
just to get things moved up. So, yeah, if it is tuck pointed and then we suggested like just put vinyl siding over the whole wall,
Yeah, that's what we were gonna side that,
so it wouldn't deteriorate anymore. Okay,
because that's just sand brick and that's just gonna keep on doing that.
all right, Dollar General. If people want to walk there, they only want to walk from the subdivision and there's no sidewalk past the bank. We have a sidewalk scheduled for that in the year 2025. I think the sidewalk should be put in next year so that people can walk there.
Is that one of the gaps that we were
Yeah.
considering?
Yes. You see, that's set up for next year.
Is that the only sidewalk that you guys are, or that you got on your list there?
The only one, well, I'm also, by my house in North Milwaukee is quite busy street. And there are 8 homes on there that don't have sidewalks. One of them built a new house, they have to put it in themselves, the other 7 village they have for. Okay, at the firehouse, we had a utility meeting, or public works utilities. We have a quote for canopy. This is the entrance that the firefighters go in, the way the roof is designed. That's what I'm getting at. The way the roof is designed, the snow and ice can come down on top of them as they're going into the firehouse. It was either gonna be done this year if there's money available,
Yeah, or next
or
year.
next year. Well, it's not next year's budget, and I don't know what's gonna happen this year. But it's gonna fall, it could fall on people. There's like a $3,500 quote.
Yeah, I brought
That
that up.
infrastructure also, that should have been,
Yeah, it should be done. It's not in here. It's not anywhere in the budget.
and also the sidewalk down by me, and I got it prepared so that the ladies can walk from the, from my sidewalk, and you seen that, down by me.
Mhm.
There was nothing there. And I dug it all out, I put traffic on there, I sprinkled it with lime, compacted it, watered it down, limes, compacted it, and it's hard. So I should be able to get it so the ladies that go to roulette, and the massage thing, and the other people that visit for the day center.
No, between the
And
municipal
bars.
lot and yours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and, you know. And also that parking lot never had a second layer on it. I asked, Jill about it, actually, I'm like, when are they putting that second layer on it? And she laughed at me because it was done like 19 years ago or something.
Mhm.
I'm like, really? So, but there's a lot of work there.
Okay, I got a couple other things. The tech committee, we typically we're doing one new building a year. And that's not in the budget for next year.
That was purposely omitted due to the.
That was in finance, right?
Yeah,
You know, the tech. Budget on this.
okay, and there's one case down at the DPW where they would like a stronger camera to see license plates. And then that one could be swapped out for a next installation where we do probably the police station. So at least that probably could be bought.
Like 1,600.
I don't even think it'd be that expensive, but
See, this should have all been brought up and done at the last finance. A lot of these things were talked about. That overhang at the,
The overhang was
Gotcha.
gonna be done this year or put into the operational budget next year, not necessarily capital, because it's less than
I
$5,000.
didn't see it anywhere.
It might not be, line itemized, but.
it's not a capital.
Built
item.
into the operation. budget.
Okay,
It
well,
was not capital,
Mhm.
so the only line item thing that you see is basically.
Those are all capital expenses.
That canopy is not. So you won't see.
No, that's a
it's just gonna be
maintenance.
called out.
That's a maintenance item.
That was discussed at the finance committee. The Highland Drive, sidewalk was discussed as well and, decided that then Highland Drive was coming up on our list of roads to be done soon. So it was discussed to do that. I think I don't think Dollar General was in the conversation at that point. Nothing solid, and they're like, yeah, we might come, but that wasn't part of the discussion at the capital items meeting. I don't remember seeing anything asked for about that brick either.
Well, that was in a,
Are they talking that or using mortar?
leaving it right now, there's nothing. Some repairs have been done, but
I don't recall an ask in the capital or. anything
no,
like
that wasn't requested.
So unless he built it into his operational budget.
Well, that's something at a public works meeting, we were over there, we went and looked at it. And they were gonna do the tuck point over the door.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all Cream City brick, that stuff. I got that whole building in that stuff.
Yeah.
And water gets behind there and starts popping. And then all of a sudden you'll have a bigger problem. So it should be.
We
taken
were
care of.
going to take that back wall and vinyl side it. But I didn't know that there was anything wrong with the roof. That's new.
I think somebody should take a look at that. We should have somebody else take a look at it and see, can we get another year, something like that out of it? If not,
Yeah.
How long ago was that? Was that like early summer or something we looked at that, or was that the year before?
I'll go over there.
That was the
Fill
year
that in.
before. Yeah, we need somebody to look at them, at that.
It's easy stuff. It's easy to do.
I was talking about the roof. Did we go back to tuck pointing?
No.
No.
Now we're back on the road.
We should have somebody to look at that roof, and if we need to do something, then we'll have to amend that in and amend something out of the budget when we get that.
the door.
Yeah.
Right, did we do something with
We
that?
did something with
Well, that was done, right?
Yeah.
That was completed. But now the roof is.
But okay, so that's what I'm getting at.
No,
So
by
what-
the cop shop. Cop
Yeah,
shop.
that was done, I want to.
Yeah, that was like a year ago this fall, something like that. Yeah. Because the roof was in good shape when we last looked at it.
well, that's what I'm saying. So how do we know that the roof is in bad shape now? It's some, are we just guessing or did somebody
Oh,
look at it?
no, we, I don't know if you guys know this, but we've known that the roof is bad for months.
We've talked about the roof last.
Is
time.
it blistering or what?
Well, every time you have snow now, it's above the well house, every time you have snow now. Literally raining in the well house.
Mhm.
It just leaks.
Was
That's the
that the,
problem. Right? I mean, but we're just saying, the last time we talked about this, the little roof was in good shape,
yeah,
but if, I mean, it doesn't pour into there in a year, so do we need something or do we not? I mean, if we do, let's have somebody look at it, see what the cost will be, and then the time is now to do it, not 2 weeks from now. And then we're going, oh crap, we forgot something, so.
Time was 2 months.
Right, so let's get somebody out there to take a look at it, and then we can figure out what we need to do, if anything. Sound good? Right, I mean, we don't wanna.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
The old stuff is downstairs, yeah, and all the cardboard boxes.
Is it
It's-
when it rains or just when it's snowing?
Well, when you get a really heavy, if you just have shower. sprinkle.
Does it get into the storage part of it or just the back room
Let's get somebody out there.
where the stairway is?
Be done with it.
And I would.
And both.
I think, Roger,
Tom Paul,
Yeah, PhD.
Mhm.
He did, talk to them about having some.
Perfect, that'd be great. That'd be great. Thank you.
All right. That well house, that's an attachment onto the back of the original
Yeah,
building.
that's correct.
So that's where it's leaking,
Yeah.
and that might be easier fixed than. That might not be that hard to fix, okay. Are we going to have Chris contact, this roofing place?
Brandon's gonna
Brandon's gonna follow?
Yeah, I will look at it, see if he did anything with them, if he did, I will personally call him.
Okay.
thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Discussion. All right,
Do you have more?
Yeah, I have one other thing, there's nothing about the fire department paramedics in the budget. And I think that should be noted, because of the expense of the employee,
Yeah, he said he was going to.
well, I didn't see anything new in.
Those are.
That's it.
For the first 2 years, right, or 3 years?
Yeah,
But there's
Should
still
be a
village
page.
expenses.
Should be a page showing
there should be
that it's
pass,
grant money and then.
Right.
there should be activity and pass-through funds to cover that.
this one.
It doesn't affect the budget,
No, it's all pass-through funds.
right? But we could show it. I thought it was going to do that,
I didn't see anything.
because I gave them.
I looked through it quick.
Yeah, if you look at, I believe.
Is it
what
fire
is
department budget?
Intergovernmental revenues. If you look, 2022 was 84,490 and 2023 is 184.
What page are you on?
That's
31.
fire department. Then there's another 175,000 or something that's.
What page are you on here?
Hold on. I thought there was another one.
There should be a nicer format to work once you get into it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that's the paramedics.
You would think it would be listed as such anyhow, and I looked at it.
Nice beers, that's right. Sounds like it was rigged. I'm not specifically in there. We did talk about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's, well, that's. Okay, it changes 219%. Yeah, I think that 184, that's the
So
money
right at the top paragraph.
in from the county funds.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think it's
No, it's a transfer.
It's a transfer from general fund into the fire department fund from all the different.
Well, that was a collection of all the
Yep.
things that were sprinkled around the
Like that.
budget.
Exactly.
Is that the whole 184?
I think it's not the paramedic funds. Paramedic funds are more than.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure if we're using all of those. Okay, you're done?
I just have one quick
Then we'll have
comment,
to chase that down too.
just for your future review, when discussing the president. Under standing committees, section C2, village president shall be committee member or committee chairman of only those committees he or she is appointed to and confirmed, so I don't know. If that
Mhm.
is
There's,
what you were looking for or looking at.
Yeah. Well, that's as a rule in a normal course of business.
Yep, so like I said. it's
The
just a
other,
review.
what we were discussing is in an emergency quote unquote situation. How would we handle something like that? And that would be out of the ordinary, over and above and beside that.
Again, I'm just pointing it out, I'm not looking to debate right now.
Yeah,
what standing committees would.
Standing committee, section C2.
so we'll have to find out what it is that we do want that to mean. And then we have to find out how we want to word that and if we want to put it in.
Agreed.
Okay. All right, any other future items? If not, we are in order to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carried, we are adjourned, thank you very much.
Um. Well, there will be in this.
Carolyn,
I gave them the month numbers. Oh, that's good. Make sure everyone was covered and, I can transfer as much information as I can, so. So, yeah, November.
She's got a very cute little grandson.
I appreciate that.
Pretty big pile of.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
There's some tech